Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this year's edition of 21st Century Black History Makers, because people who come from queens and kings were meant to do amazing things. Today's show is brought to you virtually by Phil-Mont's Carter G. Woodson Society. And now, here are the two hosts of our show, Amari Taylor and Kayla Marshall.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another edition of 21st Century Black History Makers. Last year, many of us were touched by the events that highlighted some of the racial injustice in our country, especially the mistreatment and violence toward people of color. Today's guest is like us, trying to manage some of these experiences through her own perspective as a teenager and high school student, and using her voice to make history. Isabella Hansen is a 10th grader at Kennett High School and youth co-founder of the National Youth Foundation in Pennsylvania. Last year, she launched a national poetry contest called I Matter to provide a platform for other young people. Her efforts have been recognized by Governor Wolf and by Nickelodeon, who selected her as one of the 2020 Kids of the Year. Welcome, Isabella. First, we have learned about the I Matter poetry contest you created last year. Can you tell us more about how that came to be?
Hi, thank you for having me. So, at the beginning of quarantine, I saw a lot of footage of the killing of George Floyd, and I was reading a lot about Breonna Taylor. And watching something as graphic as that is really painful and hard to do, so I used poetry to express how I felt. I also began to think about how maybe other kids are probably also feeling this way. So that's why I began the I Matter Poetry Contest. After receiving so many great entries, I had the idea to convert the top 10 into a book, including art. There were submissions from 26 states, and I also did extra outreach to cities and states that were impacted by violence, and we had entries from all of those.
The project has received a lot of attention, including your being named one of the Nickelodeon Kids of the Year. What has that been like?
So being a finalist for the Nickelodeon Kid of the Year has been crazy. I had a whole segment on TV called Acts of Awesome, and I almost fell out of my chair when Billie Eilish said my name. But in terms of how I found out, I was notified via email, and it was very low key. They said that they were going to try to film the I Matter poetry program in Philadelphia, and they sent this amazing film crew, and it made me feel very special. I didn't get to see the video until it aired on December 4th, and my mom had a little party for the occasion.
That sounds really cool, Isabella. The poetry contest sounds like it was a rewarding experience, and I know that you'll tell the audience more and how they can enter this year, but you were also pretty busy with another effort last year, the celebration of Juneteenth. Can you tell us more about that?
So back in May, George Floyd had just been killed, and I felt like I had to do something. The Juneteenth celebration was to bring people together, socially distant, of course, and to celebrate the freedom of the last slaves and to remind people that Kennett Square was a major part of the abolitionist movement.
This past year has also been challenging for everyone due to COVID-19 and a heightened awareness of racial injustice. But we're also trying to enjoy being students and young people. What has that been like for you? Are you in school in person or remote? Can you talk about how the last year has been different from what you expected?
So for this school year, I am remote, and this year has been different because I was really looking forward to college visits and tours and programs this summer, but because of COVID, everything has been online. And I really miss connecting with humans and people in person.
I understand you also have another project, a youth writing workshop on African American pioneer right here in the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, so I was an assistant project coordinator on the Hetty Simmons Love Pen Pioneer Book Project. It was a great experience getting to learn more about her, and creating a book over Zoom was something I definitely had never thought could ever happen. Yet we did it. It took about 8 months because we began this summer, but I could not have been any happier with the results.
Wow, Isabella, it sounds like you have been really busy with so many important projects, plus being an honor roll student. What do you do for fun?
So in my free time, I like to travel, run track, read and write poetry, and play Roblox.
We have enjoyed you as a part of our school's Black History Assembly today. Can you share personally what Black History Month means to you?
At my house, every month is Black History Month. My mom creates her own curriculum to ensure that my sister and I learn about all of the amazing accomplishments of African Americans. But for me personally, Black History Month is a time where I renew my focus on Black empowerment.
It has been great to have you as our guest this year, and we are very excited about the work you've been doing. If students are interested in the I Matter contest, how can they find out more information?
Thank you so much for having me. If students are interested, more information is available on the National Youth Foundation's website under programs titled I Matter. If you just type in the National Youth Foundation onto Google, it should come right up.
Wonderful. Thank you, Isabella. And thank you to our audience for joining us for another edition of 21st Century Black History. Remember, no matter what your background is, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And with this, you need to be your own 21st century history maker. So go do it.